Hello, High Levelers, Ray Daniel here, and in this video, what I want to be able to tell you is how GoHighlevel has now integrated Logic into the forms factor inside of your sub-accounts. So before we get started, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button. You know I appreciate your support. So let's hop into it here. So right now, this is a new feature that has creeped up here over the last few months. And I want to show you a couple of examples here. So right now I've got this, blow this up, I've got this Google rating, which I'm going to show you kind of how to do like a Google review kind of system. Now, if you're looking for the Google reviews, I have a whole other video about Google reviews, but this seems to be a really good example of how to use some of the features in the form logic. So we're going to go over like a Google rating form and then a loan form, just to kind of give you some examples of how do you utilize the different logic features of the high-level platform. So right now, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Now, if you build forms, you know that forms are pretty standard. You over here, just as a quick review, you've got a quick add section over here that has all the common fields that you want to add. You also have the custom fields, and I'm going to be using a couple of custom fields here on this example. And we're not going to go over how to create those. We're just automatically assume that you're going to know how to do that. So right now, you can have these forms. You can add it and build the forms. To save time, I went ahead and already added this form. Now, this right here is just a radio button. This is nothing new. It's just a radio button, a custom field where you can have multiple options where people can pick 5-star down to 1-star reviews. And depending upon what they click, you would have different results displayed on the page or send people to a different area or URL. Let's take a look at that. So right now, this little button right up in here, I'm going to try to blow this up real quick here. This little button right here in the middle, add conditional logic. This is something that's, again, relatively new to Highlevel. So right now what we're going to do is click on that logic button, and it's going to open this up. Now, this form, I've got some pre-built logic already in here that I'm going to walk you through. On the next form, I'm going to show you and walk you through how to build that logic. So I'm going to do it a couple different ways. Now, here at the top, these are the 4 main areas that you have to deal with when it comes to form logic. You could redirect somebody to just a website or URL. You can display a custom message. You could disqualify a lead, which I really don't get the difference. And I'm going to show you the difference. I really don't understand why these two are different, why they just don't have display custom message. But anyway, I'm going to show you both of them. And then lo and behold, show and hide fields. Now, if we're sitting back and we're looking at this form here, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and click on preview so we can see what this form looks like. Notice when the form loads, it just comes up with the simple rate us. Now, if you wanted to, you can have something up in here, how would you rate us, and things like that. You can make it look all nice and pretty. This is just simply trying to give you an example of how you can use the logic. So here, if somebody selects, in this kind of example, I have, if they select a 5 or 4-star, I want it to do one thing. If they select 3, 2, or 1, I want it to do something else. So here, one of the things I do want to make sure that you understand of these particular forms is, in order for this form to execute any of the particular, you have to click the button to submit your answer in order for this to work. And I'm going to show you what that means. Now, the show and hide fields feature inside of this example is going to work automatically whenever you click a certain value. So on this field, and I'm going to show you the logic behind this, if you select 3 stars, for instance, well then this is where you get first name, email, and customer feedback screen available if you wanted to. Just as an example, I'm trying to show you how you could show or hide fields. Now, if they select 3, 2, or 1, they would get these particular fields would show. They could fill out these particular fields, click the button, and then now you can just simply have a workflow inside of Highlevel that would trigger off of this form being submitted. No different than you would any other form. So once you have that, and keep in mind all of the rate us, all of these custom fields are stored inside of the customer contact record. So that will be available for you later. But you would simply have a workflow just triggered off of a form submitting to get the result of this, or to have some other logic happen after the fact, like notify your team and things like that. Now, I'm going to leave that page up real quick, and I'm going to come back here to the conditional logic, and I want to show you a couple of the things that I have in here and how I'm doing this. Now, I want you to pay attention to this area down here. Let me see if I can blow this up. Conditions will be executed from top-down order. Very important, because sometimes depending upon, you might have conflicting logic on the form, it goes, the very first rule that that matches that example, that's the one that gets executed. That's what it means top down. So if you have multiple rules, like I have 1, 2, 3 here, 3 different rules, whichever is the first one that matches that example is the one that it utilizes. So just be careful that you don't have conflicting logic on here, otherwise it could be problematic. So what I want to do is notice that I use the show hide fields, because notice that this icon that you get right here, this matches the show hide fields icon, and it has a hide fields and show fields, just like this one has a different icon that says redirect to URL. So this is kind of how you can determine which step does what. inside of here. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm going to take a look at this right here. And now what we're going to do is see some of the example here. Let me just show you real quick. If I were to do show or hide fields, this is the basic form that we get. And we can start selecting some of these objects. Notice that we have all the fields that are on the form. We could select them and we can have these different options, whether or not it's field, equal to, not equal to, and things like that. So I'm not going to do anything with this. I'm going to show you how to do that in the next form. This one, I'm just going to simply show you the logic that I've already built. So here, we're going to say if the radius is empty. So meaning, I'm going to refresh this so it comes up in here. If nobody has selected anything from these fields right here, okay, then I want to hide those first name, email address, and customer feedback fields. So that's why when I refresh it, these fields kind of go away. They get hidden. Now, I want to say if this thing is empty, or notice that you got an and or logic here. So or means one of the conditions have to match. If you use and, both conditions have to match in order for the logic to happen. So please be careful about that. That's the difference between and or logic. So here, radius is empty, or radius is equal to 5 stars, or radius is equal to 4 stars. Either one of those three examples. Now, if they choose 5 or 4, we don't want to show them the first name. We don't want to do that because 5 and 4 stars is a good rating. We want to do something else, those people that choose 5 or 4 star ratings. So this right here is what I built to basically hide the fields. And notice that here, I choose, you could do either hide, which is a single field, or show a single field, or you could do hide multiple or show multiple. So I'm doing hide multiple and I'm selecting all 3 of the fields. And if you wanted to, you get all of these options. And you see nice little, sorry, let me move myself over here. We'll see nice little check marks next to these over here showing that the fields that are already selected. So that right there is how you would end up utilizing that field. Now, on this one, on this logic here, what we want to do is we want to say if the field is either 3 stars or 2 stars or 1 star, if they choose any one of those options, then I want to show these particular fields, show multiple, and the very similar fields. You get all of these with the check mark next to them. So you kind of see how this logic works. You just have to understand how you want the form to be built. Now, the other thing that we want to do is if they submit 5 or 4, then what we want to do is we want to sit back and actually have we want to have this redirect people out to maybe leave them a Google review. So here, this is where the redirect to URL comes in. So if the radius is equal to 5 or the radius is equal to 4, then redirect. And I just put in google.com here. You could put in, this is where you would actually get your Google review link, the custom link from inside the reputation management settings. Once you do the integration to Google My Business and you get the custom link that you're sending out for all the review management, that link right there is what you put in here. So, and that'll redirect them directly to that. And then from this particular logic, when you click review, if they were to do 3-star review, they were to fill out the form, first name, email address, and feedback. If they're coming up here and selecting a 4-star review and they click the button, then notice at that particular point, the redirect URL will go out to the Google review. It'll pop up, that little box will pop up on the screen and go, leave us a star rating and things like that for the Google review. So that's kind of real basic how a simple form like a Google rating would work if you want to use forms as a way to do your Google reviews. Now, just as a little plug, if you're looking to have a couple of other review management systems, check out the other video on my channel for review systems, Google review systems, I think is what it's called. And it'll have a couple of other ways that you could do Google reviews if you don't want to do it this way. Now, a couple of things I want to make sure that you understand here. Now, for this one, notice if somebody selected, I'm going to go back here. Notice if somebody selected 3, that you would have first name, email address, and customer field. Let me show you this right here. This is a little add-on field that we can't really get around. Now, let's just say I put a text field right here. And I want to put like, please provide feedback for improvement. If I could spell. So, and I'm just going to, let me just drop this down to like 26 or something. There you go, that'll work. So, and I'm a little bit of a nut, so let me center it. So, please provide feedback for improvement. So I'm going to save this particular form. Now, you would want to have something like this just to show people, right? You'd want to give them some instructions on this particular form to show, hey, please provide some feedback for us if they selected one of these 3, 2, or 1-star options. But the problem is with this, the form logic doesn't work with text fields. Let me show you what that means. So here, if I come back to the logic, and let's just say I want to hide the fields. Let's just say I come here and I go to down here to hide multiple and I select this. Notice that down here, that field, that text field doesn't show up. It has to be an input field in order for the logic to work. So unfortunately, that's kind of a bummer because what would happen in this case, let me just show you what that would look like, is if you refresh this, you would end up getting this text that would always show no matter what option they picked. You couldn't hide it. So this is one of those things I thought was, I really kind of was bummed out about this, but you cannot hide a text field here. So one of the things you could do for this is simply go and create a second form. And I didn't do it for this example, but you would create a second form. This form, for instance, we would go here, we would delete all these fields, and we would just simply come in here, just save this because we're always good at saving. We're going to come into the logic. And right now, we're not going to have any of these show or hide fields. So I'm going to simply remove those because we don't have anything now. But what we want to do is simply do 2 redirect to URLs. So right now we would have one that just simply, the one we had before, 5 or 4 stars. But then we would have another redirect to URL where we would come in here and say rate us if it's equal to 3, or if rate us is equal to 2, or if rate us is equal to 1, then this is where we would have another form already built, and this form would be for those submissions of people who are putting in a bad review of a 3, 2, or 1 star. You would just simply have your text field. You would have, please provide, we're sorry for your bad experience. Please help us improve our performance. Things like that. First name, last name, email, phone number, customer feedback, all that kind of stuff on that form. And then once you built that form, you would go and you would integrate that. You would go get a link, and then you would simply copy and paste that link here in the results. Now, just to save this, I'm going to go ahead and just put Google just to have a URL here so we could save this. Now, if you're looking for this, if you come here to integrate and this is your second form, let's just say this is your customer feedback form, you would want to click on the integrate, and you would want to come in here and just say copy from link or copy form link. And once you copy the form link for this, then you can come back into your logic area. You can come back into your review management here, and then you can just simply paste your entire URL here for that other form. So now what would happen is you would save this, and then when you refresh this particular page, you would see everything's gone away. So they would just choose one 5-star review. They click a button, that would go out to the Google review. Perfect, not a problem at all. If they selected 3, 2, or 1 stars, you would click on this. Now, it's kind of weird because I'm actually sending you right back to the same form, but you get my point. You can send them to another form that would simply be able to be used for customer feedback. So this right here is one way that you can build logic and build sort of a Google review management system with this for your client, for yourself, however you'd like to do this. So the whole purpose of this is to show you how the logic on the form for show and hide fields work and how the redirect URL feature works. So hopefully that is pretty self-intuitive. Now let's hop into the loan form. Hey, real quick, guys, if you're looking to start your own software company, then click on my free course in the link below. I'm going to teach you 8 ways that you can start your own software company very easily with no money out of pocket, no experience, and absolutely no tech skills. Check it out, click the link below, and let's get back to the video. So right now what we want to do is start identifying some additional logic. So this is not a great form here, so please forgive me. This is just an example, proof of concept type of thing that we want to do. So here we have our loan form. Now our loan form, I just kept the standard fields, first name, last name, email, phone number. But what I've done is I've created a couple of custom fields here, one of which is called a loan amount, and the type on that is monetary. That's why it shows up as a little dollar figure, because I told Highlevel that this is a currency or monetary field. And then I have a yearly income field. This yearly income field just simply has like 0 to 50K, 50 to 100K, 100 to 150K, whatever you want to do. But all you're doing is trying to say, hey, give me your loan amount and give me how much money you make every year. And then based upon some of these, what we're going to do is we're going to be able to make a decision whether or not we want to approve the application or not based upon this. So right now, this is where we would simply click on the form logic. Notice that we have no conditions here yet. We've already done the redirect to URL, and we've already done the show high field. So right now we're going to do display custom message. So right now we're going to do this, and let's kind of think about this. Let's just say that if the yearly income here is, let's just say equal to, and we'll choose the 0 to 50K. So if you're 0 to 50K, we're just going to flat out say, no, you don't make enough money to qualify for a loan. So right now we're going to say, sorry, you can't qualify for a loan. So at this time. So, I mean, not personal. If you wanted to, you can come here, increase the font of this thing or do any of these other items, things like that. Click save. And now you have this display custom message if they're from 0 to 50K. Now, if so, you might want to display another custom message. Now, if we wanted to at this particular point, because what I want to show you here is how the display custom message and the disqualify lead are kind of similar. So we've already done this particular logic where we disqualified them, and I'm going to just copy this text. so I don't have to retype it. And what I want to do is I want to delete this, and I just want to sit back and say disqualify lead. So if they're from 0 to 50K, we just want to disqualify them. So here's where we sit back and just, again, say yearly income is equal to 0 to 50K. If they choose that option, then show them a custom message. Or if you wanted to, you can open up a URL and send them to a sorry page or something like that. I mean, I don't exactly know why these two disqualified fields and display custom message are like similar. I don't really kind of get the point of why they did both of them. But if you wanted to, you can just simply put this in here, click save, and now you have, if they make 0 to 50K, just disqualify them right off the bat. So you kind of understand there's really not a whole lot of big difference between disqualify lead and display custom message. Now, maybe if they're from 0 to 50K, you might, the open URL kind of feature on this one, if you wanted to, this right here is where if you want to open URL, you might send them to maybe like a page on your website where, I don't know, they might want to deal with like credit repair, or you need to get better prepared for a loan or something like that. You might want to do something like that. But right now I don't really see a particular need. If they make that little of money, then they just wouldn't be able to afford any of the loan through your institution. So moving forward here, again, this is top down. So we have to make sure that the logic that we have from the very top is the one that is the highest, and then each step below that is how it gets processed. So now we're going to say display custom message, and we're going to say if the yearly amount is equal to, let's just say 50K to 100K, or logic here, we could say yearly amount is equal to 150 to 150K, or, I mean, we could do any of these where we deal with yearly income is equal to any of these. So I'm gonna not do this last one here. I'm gonna hold off on that one, and I'm gonna do something different. But right now you could say one of these, you could just simply put in a message, you can qualify for a loan. Okay, and we'll click save. So one of the things is, disqualify lead. If they make $50,000 to $200,000 a year, yes, you would qualify for a loan. Okay, something like that. So I just want to show you that this is how you can continue to build your logic into your particular forms. Now, we're going to do something a little bit kind of strange here. We're going to sit back and display a custom message. And what we're going to do here is we're going to say, what happens if the loan amount on this one, let's just say, notice that the loan amount is a monetary field. So because it's a monetary field, you get different values here, equal to, not equal, empty, greater than, less than. You don't get that on the other fields. So this is where when you're filling out forms, you need to make sure that you choose the right custom field type, because depending on the custom field type, if this was a date, for instance, then you might get different options here if it's a date field versus a monetary field or a text field, things like that. So right now, what I want to do here is just kind of go back and show you if we choose greater than 500,000. So if that's the case, you might have another message that gets displayed that says, this is a custom loan that has to be approved by the bank president. We will contact you soon. Something like that. Just trying to sit back and at least provide something for them. But this right here might be like, oh, hold on, you're asking for a big loan. I'm on this one here, so we can't really process you. You might want to have a custom message for that one. And you can just keep going as much as you want. And for this, so again, just as long as you've got the right fields and the right data inside of your custom values and your custom fields, your custom fields, not values, then you can sit back and add logic for this. And if you wanted to, you can simply use the redirect field here, whatever you want. But let's go ahead and just click on this and click save. And what we're going to do is come over here and click preview. Now, when we preview this, notice that if we do, let's just say, fill out the form here, because again, in order for the logic to happen, you have to completely fill out the form, choose the options, and then from there, you can do whatever, the logic will do whatever you programmed it to do. So here, I'm going to do loan amount. Let's just say I'm going to do 600,000, and I'm going to make 0 to 50K. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to show you a point. And the point of this is the logic, the top-down logic that we had showed you. Now, right now we've got two things that we know are already going to be messed up with this form. First of all, the loan amount is over 600,000. If it is over 600,000, then we know we're going to display a custom message. However, if the yearly income is 0 to 50K, we also have a disqualify lead option that's available. So here's where we have a form where we have two competing logic problems on the same form. Now, which one will actually get displayed? Think about that. Which one of these will be displayed? So here we've got the form. If we do the form logic, notice that the top down works. So it goes from the very top and processes the logic, and whichever one matches first, that's the one that gets applied. So because this 0 to 50K is the very first field, that's the one that's going to be shown right here whenever you click submit. So whenever you do this, I'm sorry, you can't qualify for a loan at this time. Now, why did it do that? Why did it display this message instead of the 600K or the if it's greater than 500K on this one? I guess that's $500. But you get my point here. If it's greater than that amount, then why did it display the first one, this one first? Because that was the very first logic step and it matched. So as soon as it matched, then that's the one that it used. This is the example I was trying to show you with please be careful on the logic on how you process it and make sure you don't like flip the logic or have a problem with it. Make sure you test this over and over again. So now if we were to go back here on the form, let's go back. So if we did this and let's just say the loan amount is going to be 25,000 and we're 50 to 100K. Now, none of these fields are required, so I'm not going to fill them out again, but if we click submit, at this particular point, you get the message, you can qualify for a loan. Now, why did that happen? Because in the logic, this disqualify wasn't selected, so it went to the second step here. And in the second step, you see, if it's within these values, show you can qualify for a loan. Now, likewise, if we wanted to, just to kind of finish this up and show you the different logic, I'm going to go ahead and refresh the form again. From down here, now we're going to sit back and do $600,000 loan. And we're going to say 200K plus a year. And then for this one, we're going to click select. Notice, this is a custom loan that has to be approved by the bank president. We will contact you soon. So you see in these little examples here how the logic happens and flows from the top down based upon the particular fields that you selected. So hopefully just moving forward here, you can utilize the basis of this video to provide some of the very simple logic on the forms that you need to really help you, maybe even build systems out of these forms that can collect data and move people to the right form, even if you have to create multiple forms to do it. Kind of like in our first example where we had Google reviews and we were forwarding people to either the review or maybe review the customer feedback form if it's between the 3, 2, or 1 rating. So hopefully you've got some good information from this video. If you did, hit the like button. Leave me a comment if you have any questions regarding the logic. If you're having some trouble with it, I'd be happy to kind of help you out here. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button. As always, I appreciate your support. Thank you so much and have a great day.